Okay, so I was just dinking around and playing with my system a bit, and as you guys know, this is a fairly budget motherboard. It's the Asus M5A78LM USB 3 motherboard, I guess is the model number, I think, going off the top of my head. But supposedly this board supports the FX 8-core, 6-core, and 4-core CPUs. Now, I was pretty skeptical. I didn't pay for this board. It was a backup board. It was a buddy of mine's, and I ended up giving away my motherboard to somebody in need and just decided to use this because it matched the theme of the case and the blue LED fans and everything. So I knew it was budget. I knew it was nothing, you know, high-end. It had one 4-pin CPU power. I don't know if you'll be able to see it down in there, but I added some MOSFET heatsinks or VRM heatsinks to cool them down with this chip on there. You can see the one 4-pin power connector up there, and it's been, you know, stable and everything. I have it at 1.284 volts at 4 gigahertz. This is the stock turbo core speed. I just have turbo core disabled and set the core clock to 4 gigahertz. Now the problem is, my CPU is a 95 watt CPU. So this is a 95 watt board. It supposedly supports up to 140 watt TDP CPUs, but I find that incredibly hard to believe when you see what happens when I put this system under load. Now throttling, what I get is core throttling on the CPU, and what this is this motherboard has auto power management, of which you cannot disable. So what it tries to do is keep the power target within the TDP of the CPU. So it'll throttle back the CPU to stay within its TDP. Now, as you can see, I have it right at 4 gigahertz. So let's go ahead and fire up Prime 95 and watch what happens. Ready, set, go. And that is throttling on every single core down to 2.8 gigahertz. Every single core. So yes, it supports the FX chips, but in order to not kill itself, it throttles the CPU way back. According to this, I'm using between 50 and 70 watts of power on the socket. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but yeah, it's also dropping the voltage on the CPU back to 1.2 volts when it throttles back. So this board is pretty much garbage for these chips. And like I said, it only throttles at 100% load. 80-90% it's fine. It's when you max out every core that it will throttle it back, and I have no idea why this is. But like if I fire up Sony Vegas, let's go ahead and render a video. And it's not getting hot. It's not the CPU throttling. CPU has reached a maximum of 50 Celsius during this entire time. Media, we'll just go ahead. Oops, not what I want to do. Just go ahead, add this in there, let it import. Minimize this down. Waiting for that to import. Okay, render as. And we'll put it under stress by having it render CPU only, customize template, CPU only, and I want 1080p 60 FPS output, and render. So this is now putting the CPU under about 85% load, and as you can see, we have zero throttling. It's running completely stable, 4 gigahertz all 8 cores, and we're hitting about 80%, 88% CPU usage, and it hasn't throttled. So if you're gonna get this board, keep that in mind, that if you push it really hard, it will throttle the CPU. So yeah, but it's only when it's at 100%, and I can't figure this out. It's just strange. But anyway, guys, have a good day.